Alright, so let's walk through how to get the perfect character build for you together. I'm going to show you an example of my Warlock here. I like to play the top tree Warlock, so I want a bunch of grenades. I just want to spam as many abilities as I possibly can. So I need to boost my discipline stat, and then I'm also going to boost my recovery stat so I can get a bunch more rifts. So, to start off, you need to pick your stats, and then you need to play a bunch of missions. Just get a bunch of armor, a bunch of gear, and throw it all into your vault. Don't dismantle any of it. And then when you have a nice stockpile, you're going to head over to d2armorpicker.com. This thing links up with your Destiny item manager to read your inventory and optimize your build for you. So, let's say I want a bunch of discipline and I want a bunch of recovery. This will generate a list of possible armor combinations to get that. But you can customize it even further. You can tell it specific exotics you want to use. I don't really care, so I'm not going to select anything. You can say, I only want to use like 3 mod slots for boosting my stats. You know, those +5s, those +10s, that you can limit that. And then you can say, okay, well, I need solar gloves for the mods I'm going to use. Or, no, it's void. I need void gloves and a solar helmet. And I will show you later on why I want those. And down here, you can say if your stuff is masterworked or to assume you're going to masterwork it. So if you want to work with just what you have right now, I would say turn these off. But if you want to generate a list of an end build that you're not going to switch off from, then just select all the masterwork stuff, check that gear, and masterwork all of it, and it will be extremely optimized. But I just want to work with what I have for now and worry about masterworking gear later. So I'm going to turn those off. Going to come back up here, and unfortunately there's no list, so I'm going to turn this mod slot back on, and here's the list again. So now you can sort it by a few different things. You can sort it by tiers. That's pretty good. If you want to just get as many tiers as you possibly can, the max I can get is 29, it appears, but I don't really care about getting as many tiers as I can, since I have my main stats. That's what I really care about. So I want to just save on mods. I want to use as many, as few major mods as I can, so I can save on that mod space and that energy cost. So you see here, this costs 4 major and 1 minor. We're gonna go down the bottom and see where it stops being the case. So here's 5 major. Okay, so somewhere in between, it stops doing that. Okay, so here is 4 major and 1 minor. So anything above this, I want to just choose, since it's basically the same, I can choose between Aeon Soul or not, and how many tiers. So let's go with, this one has 28 tiers, but no Aeon Soul. We'll go with one of the Aeon Soul. Wait, the one I'm on is already 28 Aeon Soul. Oh, perfect. That is perfect. So what you want to do whenever you find your loadout, it'll tell you here, but instead of going through inventory, you can just click copy query to clipboard, and then paste that in Destiny Item Manager. You can try these 2 options to move the items directly to your inventory or equip them, but I haven't gotten these to work. So if you manage to get them to work, brilliant, but I haven't gotten to so far. So when you have that copied to your clipboard, head on over to Destiny Item Manager and paste it in the search bar. What that'll do is that will highlight all the gear, and you can click and drag it to your equip slot, and that will automatically equip it to your character. Super, super easy. You come back over to Destiny, and there is all the gear. Now, if you remember, we're not at 100 just yet because we have to equip a bunch of mods. We need 1 major discipline, 4 major recoveries, and 1 minor recovery. Okay, there we go. So now I have 100 discipline and 100 recovery. This is perfect. So now that I have that, I'm not done just yet. I have to go through and finish putting in all of my mods. So this is where you decide, well, I guess you would decide beforehand whether you want grenades or melee. Since I chose grenades, I'm going to go into the gloves and choose the bolstering detonation mod slot. Mod component. So here's the thing when it comes to mods. You really have to choose between grenades or melee. So basically what you can do is You can use your grenades to cool down your class ability, and you can use your class ability to cool down your grenades. But you cannot do the same thing between grenades and melee, because the mods to do so are stupid expensive and on separate energy types. Destiny, please change this. I want to use grenades and melee. I don't like my class ability. Just come on, bruh. Like, there's so many items and mods I don't care about on the chest and the legs. Just stick the good ones onto those. Like, please. Like, we got the loaders and like the reload reduction, the dexterity, and then we got these awesome cooldown reduction stuff. And then I have all this stuff I just don't care about. I don't care about any of this stuff. Please, Bungie, I'm begging you. Okay. All right. So, sorry, got sidetracked. Okay, so what I am going to do is use my grenades to cool down my class ability. Bolstering detonation is great for that. Now, you can stack these. You can put 2 onto your gloves, but the problem is you have a diminishing return, I believe. I believe you have about a 25% cooldown reduction per grenade hit. But if you have 2, then it's about 35, so it's only an additional 10% difference. But if you use the melee, it's about a 20% cooldown reduction. However, these can both only trigger once every 7 seconds. But because the melees don't need to be charged, you can actually trigger that like every 7 seconds without having to wait for it to come back. However, melees are also super dangerous in the higher difficulty missions and can be much more difficult to pull off than a grenade toss. So I like to run one of each just because, like, if I happen to get a lucky melee, an easy melee, then it is a significant reduction in cooldown, but I don't get the diminishing returns from stacking bolstering detonation. I really wish you go from grenades to melee and back and vice versa. That would be amazing, but unfortunately we just can't do that. So once you have that, you can come down to your class ability, and then you can use your class ability to cool down your grenades or your melee. Now, if you're a hunter, this is like a great option. But I'm not. So Warlock is Bomber, and I believe the cooldown reduction is based on how quickly your class ability comes back. So I think Hunters get the least amount of cooldown reduction because they can spam their class ability, and Titans and Warlock get more because theirs takes longer to come back. I like to pair this with Distribution as well, because if you are close to an enemy, you cool down all of your abilities by a little amount. Now, this also works for your super. This distribution is fantastic because it reduces your super, grenade, melee, and class ability cooldown. But you do have to be near the enemies, which is also super dangerous in higher difficulty missions. So this is nice for like Titans and Hunters who can tank and dodge a bit and survive. And it's not really great for Warlock since you're kind of just standing in the open, casting your Rift, and you can get out of position really easily. But if you happen to get it off, it is a significant cooldown for your super. But it's up to you, because you can also just stack like 2 bombers or 2 outreaches, but there is a diminishing return for stacking them as well. So, think about your choices, pick what you want. I'm gonna go with Bomber. So let's go ahead and equip those right now. Oh, I'm sorry, I already got that. So I'm going to go ahead and put Focus Strike on, just in case I happen to get a lucky melee, a nice easy melee bomber, and I don't have enough energy for distribution. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and enhance that. There we go. Distribution. All right. So now that I have that, I want to come up to the headpiece, and what you can do is put on Ashes to Assets, and getting grenade kills reduces your super cooldown. And I've noticed that it is quite a bit amount on harder difficulties because it takes into account how difficult the enemies are. So if you're killing grunts, if you're killing red bar enemies versus like yellow bars and orange bars, it is very different. And killing a cluster of like orange enemies, like, oh my gosh, you get a significant cooldown reduction to your super. And then what you can do on top of that is stack on, let's see, elemental well stuff like Font of Wisdom. So if you pick up an elemental well equal to your type, which you can spawn with elemental ordnance or elemental light, then you get basically tier 10 intellect for 30 seconds. That combined with Ashes to Assets makes an incredible fast recharging super. It is insane. Like, my intellect on this is 20, it's garbage, but it might as well be like 15. Like, it does not make a difference with this build, which is why I love it. Because, like, you invest in recovery, you invest in discipline, and then you basically get 15 intellect, and it's amazing. It is just so good. And then you kind of, unfortunately, forego your strength, but when you happen to get your entropic pull back on cooldown, it's just a really nice bonus to 50% cooldown reduction in your grenade. It is just like the cherry on top. And then the best part is, this isn't even done. Like, I have so much more space to throw stuff on, you know? Like, I have so many more mod slots, and then I can masterwork these and get even more charge. So this is what I would do. Oh, but actually, this isn't what I would do. This is not where I would stop, because you know what? This looks like garbage. This is disgusting. So we're gonna go over to the customization for the appearance and make this look a bit nicer. I like the high-minded complex and the scorned barren robes with tangled web boots. Already got that apparently. And there we go. Looking a bit more fly. So you can have the best of every world now. That is really nice. Oh, actually, we're still not done, because you know what? We haven't even talked about weapons yet. So because I'm focusing on grenades, it only makes sense to focus on weapons that have the Demolitionist perk. So you can come over to Destiny Item Manager and type in Demolitionist. What that will do is show you all the weapons you have stored up with Demolitionist. You can go ahead and click and drag, and I'll just go ahead and equip that. And then I think Salvager's Salvo is a really nice secondary. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But the thing is, Salvager's Salvo gets 20% per kill for grenade cooldown reduction because it's a secondary. If you have Demolitionist on a primary, it's only 10% grenade cooldown per kill. So if you have a primary weapon with something like Wellspring, you may be better off because it'll split it between everything, and Wellspring is a 77, I believe it's 7.5% cooldown split at a maximum of 3 ways. So it's like less overall charge, but it's like divvied up among your abilities, and if you have one ability that's closer to being on cooldown, you can finish that and top it off and use that ability to cool down your other abilities quicker. So it's really just whichever way you want to play it, but it's really not a big deal because like they're both like really good. So that's just my style of playing, and yeah, this is a really good and easy and quick way to get the perfect character for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.